this second part of our series on Rex's journey as a CANLOAN officer, we're going to actually follow Rex's journey rather than our own. Now, he landed at Gold Beach, we landed at Sword. So Ouistreham Ferryport is now at the eastern end of Sword Beach, but Gold is a lot further along the coast. The photo we've got coming ashore here is actually Sword, it's our photo. But the photo on the right is Rex as he was leaving 34th Reinforcement Holding Unit at Hawkinge Aerodrome on the 11th or 12th of June. So he was a reinforcement officer, and we'll learn more about his journey as we go around Normandy. Hopefully you have a copy of A CANLOAN Officer. If not, you can obviously order it from us at the Vickers MG Collection and Research Association. We are the publisher. We are the editor of that. Rex was the author, and his son has gracefully helped us with rescanning the images and everything as well. So some of those images you'll see as we go through this journey. So we're sat here at the top of this track, as you can see as we go around here. So this is the track up off of Gold, and Rex talks about that as a bulldozed track leading off the beach, which I suppose by the time he got here on the 29th of June, or that's when he joined 2nd Middlesex. When did he get to France? Can't quite remember. But by the time he got here, that certainly would have been quite well used by that point. As you can see, the vehicles coming up it here into Vers-sur-Mer. And then he'd have headed off up the hill. So this is the route up from Gold Beach, that then becomes Rue de la Libération, up to the Normandy Memorial, British Normandy Memorial on our right hand side there. So this is the route that pretty much all the troops that came ashore at Gold as reinforcements. So Rex would have taken this route up here and then all the way to Bayeux in that direction, where he joined 34 Reinforcement Holding Unit. Having joined 2nd Middlesex on the 29th of June, he was put into the line straight away. He met his company commander, commanding officer, and Pat Weston, and then the company commander as well, very quick, Pat King-Farlow. And they went up to put him straight in the line to an orders group of 9 Brigade, and he went up to Caen. After the orders group was complete, Rex went back to company headquarters, met his platoon for the first time, and then had to bring them forward. So he brought them forward and into position, and you can see here he had one section, 2 Vickers guns as a platoon in the right of the hedgerow tip, DF tasks across Caen, and then he mentions the Canadian battalion, the 3 Canadian div. He always mentions the Canadians throughout, so he's keeping track of 3rd Canadian div, him being 3rd British div, but his sort of Canadian roots coming through there a little bit as well. So you can see they were supporting the 3rd div. He had the platoon carriers among the farm buildings, and on our visit we managed to locate a few of those locations. So we're stood on the Chemin des Royal Ulster Rifles and looking northwest at the moment, and so we've got Caen behind us there, and we've come up the track and we've got the Chemin des Royal Ulster Rifles, and this bit here, this is the edge of the wood, and then his gun position is in behind these houses, up in this position, firing in that southeasterly direction. So these trees here, they are now look to be along the line of the old tram line that they brought the carriers down to that gun position. So whilst in their position in the south of Le Mesnil, this is the area here on Chemin de Mesnil, on the corner of the Chemin de la Royal Ulster Rifles, or the Royal Ulster Rifles that we've got here, going down to Caen Wood. We think this is the area in which they park their carriers up away from the gun line. For the following period, Rex was in the beachhead, and most of the shoots that he did were indirect fire. Now, this is one of my favourite accounts, in that he is this keen reinforcement officer that wants to show everybody that he knows how to do things right, but actually he didn't know how to do things the battle way and what everybody'd learned. So he slowed everything down. Take a read of it, it's great. We visited one of the harassing fire positions that Rex had noted on his map, and took a look at that as we were cycling around. So this was a defensive fire position that we've got in the field in front of us, which Rex held as number 1 platoon. So the guns are in this field right in front of us, in between us and that sort of clump of trees there. And then the arcs were from Bouville on the left, all the way round to the right here, to Chateau de la Lande, which we've got here. You can see that actually, there's a dip. You can see that car coming through that dip at the moment. So you've got a position here on sort of the forward slope of this hill, but it actually forms a valley, so that they'd be shooting straight over that crest in front of us and would be largely invisible to anything else. I mean, so they're sort of far enough back from the crest to have good crest clearance that they can actually get some nice close ranges on that as well. It's quite possible that the best position for the carriers in this case would be in front of you. So the guns would be sat here and the carriers would be sat in front of the guns underneath the arc of fire. Anything that they'd be relatively protected then from anything but mortars with a high trajectory, a high angle, and the guns would be quite well protected as well. Now the first large set piece attack that Rex took part in was Operation CHARNWOOD, so we went and visited some of the locations they had there. So this is the forming up point for Operation CHARNWOOD. They'd moved down here from their forming up position, come down the roads here, and actually quite possibly, down the roads here between us and Nyons, and then turned west, came up into these fields and formed up here and watched the bombing attack for Operation CHARNWOOD start. The evening before the attack, we moved from our Colville harbour area down the Caen-Ouistreham road paralleling Nyons and turned off west into the fields between Blanville and Biville, facing Le Bicet. We lay up in the fields just behind the start line. From there we watched a large RAF bombing attack which went in about 9 PM to soften up Caen and defences just in front of it. After watching the attack and 9 Brigade go in, the 2nd Middlesex, or A Company 1 Platoon, sat there most of the morning waiting for sappers to clear paths for vehicles through the rubble. So Rex was sat there waiting for orders, and eventually he got them. He was ordered by his company commander, Pat, to take the platoon through to an eastern suburb, a district called Calix, where there was a suspected pocket of Boche on our side of the river. So after reaching the bottom of the hill, a block or so from the canal and harbour, I turned left towards the eastern end of the city, and here the streets were clear. So we're stood here in Calix, just east of Caen, and this is a low wall now, but it's a taller wall, and you can see that down the end there. And our bikes are leant against it, which is where A Company's carriers, number 1 Platoon A Company's carriers, so Rex Fendick's platoon, were parked up while they performed a shoot in that direction, east of us towards some woods, but they received a lot of shell fire from that direction. That's more northeast, and then that's east of us there, so had to quickly move the positions. It was a little bit too hot for them, and so they did that, but their actual gun positions were further up the road. Up here, this is the location where Rex had to come back with a motorbike and pick up the dial sites later in the day. We were saying that all of these houses are shown on the maps, with the exception of those immediately here, which is the lower part of the street. 3 up the street were originally there in 1944, but lower down the street those are new ones, and then we've got this industrial park or supermarket, whatever it is, right next to us here. So the fork on our left here is the original road, and then the fork to the right is a newer post-war road, and then the supermarket's there, and you can just see the trees behind the supermarket. We think that's the woods that were the target, so not too far away, perhaps 600 yards. So likely a direct fire shoot. So these houses that we're looking at here, so we're looking now down south towards the river, as opposed to north, so we were stood down here looking up, and you've got these houses on the left here that are new, and it's in the gardens of these houses that his gun positions were to be. These houses here were there, so it's the top 3 in this row were already there, and then the new ones start, and it's in one of these that he jumps in to a bomb shelter, kicks one of his guys in the chest as he's sheltering from the shell fire that's coming from the river over there. A reminder that their targets are over there. They've stuck them on the forward slope a little bit, so probably direct fire, thinking that it was an isolated pocket of Germans, and that that east of the river had been cleared, so that would have come as a bit of surprise to them. They'd have had to go south towards the gunfire actually to get their carriers back, and then head back west through Caen and up to their original company positions. So yeah, it looks like this house has been demolished here, but that would have been there as well, so it wouldn't have been as open. So from there, they went back to their rest positions into reserve near Colville-sur-Orne, Colville-Montgomery again, and they were preparing for what would become Operation Goodwood. So we'll leave it there and we'll cover that in another part, but hopefully you're enjoying this follow round of Rex's service in Normandy and you are following along with a copy of A CANLOAN Officer. Thanks for watching. Please remember to like and share the video and subscribe to the channel. Please support us on Patreon if you're able to, and let us know of anything you'd like to see in the future. I look forward to hearing from you.